Hey, welcome back. So today we're going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to show you how to make your own redstone testing world. And this is going to be a little bit more in-depth than simply creating a redstone ready world from the presets. So stick around and you might learn something. All right, so let's get going. Go single player, create our new world. Let's name it something like redstone testing. Hopefully I don't already have one like that. So we're going to change our game mode to creative, change the difficulty to peaceful, make sure allow cheats is on because we're going to need that to type commands. We can skip data packs for now. Eventually you might find some that are useful. And we're going to go into game rules here. So this is one of the new things that they have available for creating worlds is you can come in here and just toggle stuff. It used to be you had to type a whole bunch of commands, but now you can just click buttons in here. So we'll just look through these here. Start with the player section. Pretty much nothing you need to do here. I like to change the respawn location radius to 0, so I'm always spawning in the same location. And then down here, we want to disable raids, turn that on. We don't want raiders spawning all over the time. The rest of these don't really matter. Spawn phantoms off, spawn mobs off, patrols off, and especially wandering traders. They get so annoying when they show up right on top of you and start trying to trade you while you're trying to click on stuff. So drops, leave that the same. And then world updates, we're going to turn off the time of day advancing. So we're never going to have night. Then we're going to turn off fire. You might want to leave this on if you're working on something, but you can always change it later with a command. We're also going to turn off weather. We're going to leave random tick speed the same. Then down here, I usually turn off. These are just optional. You don't need these for redstone testing world, but I find all these pop-ups annoying in the beginning, so I turn a lot of this stuff off. And then the rest of this is good. So we're just going to hit done. And now we've got the game rules complete. So then we go over here to more world options. And this is where you're going to be doing the presets here. So generate structures. I turn that off so I don't have villages spawning all over the time, or all over the place. We're going to go super flat, customize. Go down here to presets, redstone ready. And this is where it differs. A lot of people just say use preset and go, but I found that you actually want to come up here in the text and you want to change this last little bit. It said desert there. We don't actually want to have our, so redstone testing worlds, they only have one biome, and everywhere you go, it's that single biome. And by default, the redstone ready sets it to desert, but that's not ideal because it's a very warm biome. So anytime you're going to be working with like ice or snow golems, they're going to melt or die. So we want a biome that's not a default hot biome. We also want one that's not a default cold biome, because a cold biome will have snow everywhere and have all sorts of other problems. And maybe in the future, you know, it might affect redstone. So we're just going to go for a neutral biome. And the one that I found that works best is the flower forest. We just type that in at the end here after this semicolon, or rather colon, and make sure you have the underscore between flower and forest. So we're just going to click use this preset now that we've changed it. Also, I would recommend sticking with just the defaults here where we have the stone and the sandstone. You see a lot of people change the base block type of their redstone testing world, and a lot of times it's just really harsh to look at. So if you ever plan on like sharing some screenshots and stuff, I would just stick with the basics. It's also easy on the eyes, not harsh colors. So we're gonna click OK, done, and now we're back here. I like to set the world seed to 0, just something so it's the same on all my worlds, so that if there's any sort of positioning issue, I know exactly where I was positioning things in old worlds and whatnot. All right, so that should be all good for here. So we're just gonna hit done. Now we've done game rules, more options, and we're all set to go. So we'll create a new world. We'll do its little spinny thing. And now as soon as we get in game, we're going to have to type a few commands because while they did add those GUI options to change settings, they didn't quite get all of them. So once we get in here, we're just going to type TP my name or whatever your name is, and we're going to go to 0560. Because if we look at the top here, it says I'm at 8.556, 8.5. So we actually got a spawn location that's pretty close to 00, but I'm just going to go to exactly 00, and this way you can always find your way back to spawn because you know where it is. And then I'm just going to type the command in set world spawn. All right, and you'll see it set my spawn here. And this is something I like to do, but I like to also add a world border. So world border set, and then we're just going to give it a size. So this is like the edge of a square size. So we're going to say 1000, and that's going to make it 1000 by 1000. So 500 from the center here. And you don't need your redstone testing worlds too big. So I found that if you set a world border, it just kind of helps you from building outside of it, because a lot of times you'll be building and iterating on designs and you don't realize how far you've gone from the start of your world, and it ends up making your world file size really large, or at least a lot larger than it needs to be. So this way I can see the border and be like, all right, maybe I need to go build somewhere else for a little bit. All right, so set that. We also need to center it. So you go world border, center, and then just do these double tildes, and that'll put it at your current location. And since you just teleported to the center and change that, change the spawn, that will be what you want to do there. Now there's a couple other things, like I was saying, they don't get all the settings. So we stop the advancing of the time of day, but if I like look around, I see the sun is like on the horizon, and I kind of want it to be noon because then that'll get an even look. You see how we got like this orange on the horizon over there, and then like a light color and like a darker blue up here. So when I take screenshots, I kind of want it to be even. So we're just going to do time set noon. All right, and then that puts the sun straight up, and we've got a nice even look to our world. Same thing with weather. Since we're not in a desert, it can start out raining here, I think. I don't know exactly how Minecraft does the world generation initially, but just to be safe, I always say weather clear. And now we've got that. And then there's just one last thing that I usually do here, and this is, again, just not necessary, but something that I find is helpful. So I'm going to pick a block. I usually always do the same block here, and then do F3 plus G, and that'll bring up the chunk borders. You can see I'm standing like right in the middle of a couple chunks here on 00. So I'm just going to fly out, and I'm going to mark out the 2x2 chunk around spawn. And I'm just going to put these little arrows in the corners, and that will let me know that this is like my spawn area. And so then I want to make sure I just don't build anything in this 2x2 chunk area, because if I get carried away, I start making a big build, then whenever I respawn, I may respawn inside of my machine. And that's not a huge problem, it's just a little bit annoying. And then you also see I made this little tick mark here on the one side, and that is the side you're facing initially, so it just kind of helps orient yourself when you respawn, because you don't always respawn facing the same direction. So that's just something I found is a little helpful. And then the other thing you're going to want to do when you're first starting out is learn to build off the ground. So when I'm going to start a build, I might fly over here. I'm just going to fly up. I like to go up about 20-30 blocks, but you probably don't need to go that high. It's just really annoying if you're making a build and you start it on the ground, and all of a sudden you realize, this would be really easier if I went underneath, and then you have to like dig out all the ground, and then it's hard to see your structure. This way it gives you like a good view from all angles, and you can really fly around and do what you need to do. So that's pretty much it for creating the redstone testing world. I've created probably hundreds of these now, and everybody does it a little differently. This is just my preference. I'm sure after you've made a few of these, you'll find something that suits your needs. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.